Pickleball enthusiasts are ruthless, just like tech enthusiasts. We keep up with the latest news on trends and technologies, and if a new release doesn't come with any of them, or a big spec bump, it gets dismissed almost immediately. By now you've seen the reviews of the Joola Pro 5, saying how lackluster of a release it is. Now bear with me for a moment, and think back to the iPhone 13 launch. Enthusiasts were brutal. No new screen technology, still rocking the Lightning port. The design was virtually identical to the iPhone 12. Tech reviewers called it boring, but it went on to become one of the best-selling iPhones of all time, because the changes Apple made weren't headline-grabbing. They were incremental refinements to the things that actually mattered when people were using the phone every day. I think the Pro 5 is facing the same iPhone 13 moment. On paper, it looks nearly identical to a Pro 4. But today, I'm going to show you why the boring specs don't tell the whole picture. The data that I've taken show how the incremental improvements made to the Pro 5 translates to encore performance improvements. And I think similar to the iPhone 13, this Pro 5 will still be one of the best-selling paddles of the year. Go check out my first video where I explain what a frequency response plot is and how it can be used to analyze paddles. I'll be using the same method today to look at the Joola Pro 5 and Pro 4, both in the 16mm Perseus shape. Here's the data for both paddles. First, let's take a look at where the dominant peaks are in these two plots. The Pro 4 peaks at 325 Hz. The Pro 5 peaks at 338 Hz. They're quite close to each other, but remember from our first video, a higher peak frequency means a stiffer paddle. These two paddles weigh almost the same, 230 grams versus 232 grams. So when we do the math, that frequency shift tells us the Pro 5 is approximately 9% stiffer than the Pro 4. But if you watched other reviews of the Pro 5, you've almost certainly heard it described as feeling softer than the Pro 4. Every review I've seen says it. And when you hit both, the Pro 5 does have a slightly softer or dwellier feel. But the data is clear. The Pro 5 is objectively the stiffer paddle. So if it's stiffer, why does everyone think it feels softer? The answer is in the shape of the curve. Look at the left side of the peak, the leading edge. Both paddles rise at almost exactly the same rate. They're nearly identical. This tells us the fundamental damping at the dominant mode is similar between the two. Neither paddle is significantly more or less damped than the other at that primary frequency. Now look at the right side, the trailing edge. This is where things look very different. The Pro 4 drops off steeply and symmetrically. It looks like what we would expect from a single clean resonance. The peak rings, it decays, it's done. But the Pro 5 holds on. It has this long, gradual tail that extends hundreds of hertz beyond where the Pro 4 has already fallen off. In the 600 to 800 hertz range, the Pro 5 is transmitting over 2.5 times more vibration energy to the handle. In the 800 to 1000 Hz range, it's nearly 4 times more. This isn't higher damping, it's the opposite. The Pro 5 is capturing and transmitting a wider range of frequencies from the face to the handle. I'm calling this the vibration bandwidth of the paddle, and the Pro 5's bandwidth is dramatically wider than the Pro 4's. In the first video, we talked about how a single sharp peak feels like a tuning fork, and multiple peaks feel like a piano chord. The Pro 4 is closer to the tuning fork end. One clean dominant frequency reaching your hand. The Pro 5 is delivering something closer to a chord. The fundamental note plus several harmonics layered on top, all arriving at your hand at the same time. That's what creates the perception of a softer, more complex feel, even though the structure is actually stiffer. So what's causing this wider bandwidth? Why is the Pro 5 transmitting so much more high frequency content to the handle when the internal construction is the same? This is where I think the new kinetic frame comes into play. Joola markets it primarily for an improvement to energy transfer to the ball and launch angle. But I think the most significant thing this frame does, the thing you actually feel in your hand, is how the vibrations travel from the face to the handle. In the Pro 4, vibrations from a ball impact have to travel through the face, through the core, through the perimeter foam, across the edge guard, and then into the handle. Every one of those material transitions acts as a filter. Some energy reflects back, some get absorbed, and the higher the frequency, the more gets lost along the way. By the time the vibration reaches your hand, the high frequency content has been stripped out. Your hand only gets the dominant peak and not much else. The Pro 5's kinetic frame changes that. It creates a continuous structural path, one unbroken piece, from the face perimeter around the entire edge of the paddle and straight down through the handle. No gaps, no material transitions. Think of it like a highway for vibration that transmits all frequencies efficiently. And that's what we're seeing in the data. The Pro 5 isn't necessarily generating more vibration at the face. It's delivering more of what's already there to your hand, intact across a wider frequency range, higher fidelity. And that wider, more complex signal is what people are interpreting as softer or more dwell or more connected. It's not that the paddle is softer, it's that you're feeling more of what the paddle is actually doing. There's still a lot of characteristics to a paddle that we can't measure. The first thing you notice picking up a Pro 5 is the build quality. This is a noticeable step up from the Pro 4. The edge guard is a higher quality material, the handle feels more refined, everything about the construction feels more precise and intentional. And that feeds directly into something that's hard to measure but easy to feel, how unified the paddle feels as one piece. I'm not talking about static or swing weight, I'm talking about how all the different components of the paddle, the face, the core, the edge guard, the handle, feel connected to each other. The Pro 5 feels more integrated, more solid. I think this is either a result of the internal frame tying everything together structurally, or higher quality materials being used. And this is important. You can't replicate this simply by adding lead tape to a Pro 4. Tape changes how much mass there is and where it sits, but it can't change how the internal components are coupled together. That comes from the construction itself. Now let's take a look at how all this translates to play performance. On court, that structural unity translates directly into confidence. The Pro 4 has always felt a little flimsy to me. In its stock form, I felt the stability was lacking, which made me compensate by tightening my grip. This made all my shots less consistent and had me questioning contact on every shot. Switching to the Pro 5, I no longer had to worry about how the paddle would hold up during contact. The paddle behaved more predictably, most noticeably on resets and drives. Again, looking at the specs, both paddles have a similar twist weight, but the Pro 5 did not feel flimsy at all and felt much more stable. Power is similar to the Pro 4, but because the structural unity leads to a more stable feeling paddle, I found myself being able to swing a little bit faster and harder while still keeping the same level of precision. But the real difference is in the feel. That wider vibration bandwidth we talked about, you get more feedback from each contact. Where you hit the ball in the face, how clean the strike was. It's subtle, but once you tune into it, going back to the Pro 4 feels almost lower fidelity. It's like listening to music on the old wired Apple earbuds, and then switching to a pair of new AirPod Maxes. You might be playing the same song, but you're hearing layers you didn't notice before. They were always there, you just couldn't access them before because of the lower fidelity. The Pro 5 is an improvement over the Pro 4 in every dimension, measurable and subjective. The data shows a paddle with a wider vibration bandwidth, meaning a higher fidelity feel with more information being transmitted to your hand. On court, that translates to better feedback, more confidence, and a feel that is more layered and connected. The improved build quality and structural unity makes it feel like a more refined tool overall. It's not a revolutionary leap, it doesn't need to be. Just like the iPhone 13, it makes the right incremental improvements in the areas that actually affect your experience. Now, I'll be watching how the Pro 5 holds up over time. Break-in and core crushing are realities with any Gen 3 paddle, and it'll be interesting to see if there will be any shifts to vibration characteristics. So I'm planning to do another video where I retest the Pro 5 after some time and see how the feel profile evolves and what it means for long-term playability. Make sure you're subscribed to catch that one. Everybody has the question whether or not they should buy the new Pro 5. And I think that has the same answer to when you're deciding to upgrade to the newest iPhone. It comes down to how much you value the improvements and what you're coming from. At the end of the day, it's not the flashy new features that matter, but what will benefit you the most every time you play. Again, let me know what paddles you want me to take a look at next. Thanks for watching.